Good evening and welcome to this WildEarth Town Hall. Town Hall, for those of you who don't know, is an opportunity for us to talk to you and most importantly, for you to talk to us. We've got Andre Crawford-Brunt, Chairman and CEO of WildEarth with us, and me, James Hendry, Head of Live Content and guy who likes knocking about the bush and telling you about it. We've got quite a lot to get through in the next little while. It may or may not take an hour, and if it doesn't take an hour, then we will continue with an episode of Just Nature. So bear with us. We don't have a strict timetable to stick to here. All right, so first of all, this is actually quite a positive town hall. The one 2 weeks ago was a bit dire, but you really have once again come to the rescue, and a massive, massive thank you to everybody who has come to the party, who has signed the petition, who has donated. We are extremely grateful. We are once again extremely humbled. More than 16,000 people have signed the petitions to keep us on MultiChoice, or to encourage MultiChoice to pay for the content that we give them and thus keep us on DSTV. More than 2,000 of you have donated money to us, and we are overwhelmed. And really, it's quite spectacular. So far, we've raised $180,000 US, which is spectacular. We'd love to make it to 200 if we could by the end of this evening, sort of 12 o'clock tonight, Central African time. That's when we'll close the donations off. Yeah, if we could do that, that would be amazing. And along with that, along with $130,000 from a very kind viewer, amazingly kind viewer, will see us hopefully through the next 4 to 6 months. We are going to restructure things a bit to reduce the costs and change things around a bit, but hopefully that will give us the runway we need to find a corporate sponsor, which brings me to my next point, which is a corporate sponsor. And I will explain a bit more about that a bit later. We've got a little clip we can show a bit later. But basically, we're in search of a corporate sponsor, or a number of corporate sponsors, to help us take this forward. And there are 3 ways that can be done. I'll give you a little bit more detail, I think, a little bit later on. I think it's more important that we hear from Andre if he comes off that black screen. I'm not sure if he's still there, so I'll just keep going. For those of you who have signed the petition, it's important that you understand. I know that some of you were encouraged to donate to the petition, and you thought you were donating to WildEarth. You can, in fact, get a refund for that. And if you just go to change.org and ask for a refund, it'll be there. Alternatively, we can probably tweet the link that you'll need in order to do that. Alternatively, just send us an email and we will do our level best to send the links that you need in order to get a refund if you have donated to change.org, which hosted the petition, under the mistaken impression that you were donating to WildEarth. So you can get a refund for that. And the other thing we'll talk about today, we'll give more detail, or Andre will give more detail on the conflict with MultiChoice and what that's meant, why we're in conflict with them to a certain extent. And also we'll talk about the non-live days, Mondays and Tuesdays, what we've been doing on those non-live days. They've been actually amazingly productive, and some of you will have seen some of the videos that we did during the course of the week. And then also we'll talk about a new YouTube offering, YouTube memberships, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. Before I hand over to Andre, I'm going to read you the letter, the open letter that he wrote, that has been seen by lots of people, thousands of people, including the managers or the top echelons of MultiChoice. And we invited them onto this town hall, and they declined to come and talk with you. I mean, look, I would be intimidated by you as well. But I do think it's a pity that they didn't take the opportunity. 16,000 people, most of them are DSTV subscribers, have told them and said to them that they would like to stay, that they would like DSTV to start using the money that they pay them to pay WildEarth, but that appears to have fallen on deaf ears so far. Anyway, I'm going to quickly read through this letter. It will take a little while, but I think it's a good one because it really does kind of lay the ground for where we are. The gloves came off last week. Having given MultiChoice multiple opportunities to do the right thing, our small team at WildEarth made the difficult decision to come off Channel 183 on DSTV at the end of April. The reality is that we have been begging MultiChoice for over a year to support us. We have made the case that not paying us anything for our content, as attractive as that is to them, is unsustainable for us. It is also, in our view, short-sighted for you, the viewers. We've also repeatedly highlighted the important role we play in education, conservation and tourism. We told them we have a large and passionate audience, long viewing times, and that we represent everything positive that South Africa, our beautiful country, has to offer. We reminded them that we are the largest producer of local content in the country and remain highly motivated by our mission of taking African stories to the world. We know our audience because we focus closely on you, our viewers. We have conducted multiple surveys to understand your viewing habits, and we appreciate how passionate you are about our channel. You write to us daily, telling us what we mean to you, and when we get it wrong. Thank you for that. We regularly monitor the myriad Facebook fan pages and chats across our social media and YouTube channels, where 1.5 million of you provide daily evidence of how committed you are. We also watch you communicate daily using #WildEarth on X. We know you love our daily live safari so much that many of you launched petitions last week in response to our announcements of coming off DSTV. Well over 12,000 of you have signed thus far, all appealing to MultiChoice to do the right thing. You are the same viewers who also generously donated more than 5 million rand in less than 72 hours to help increase our runway. This is not the first time you have come to our rescue. MultiChoice Group and their potentially soon-to-be new owners, Canal Plus, would do well to read the thousands of comments on both the petition and social media. By not doing so, they risk compounding their error. Lest they forget, many of you are the same people who pay monthly DSTV subscriptions and indirectly their salaries. Many of you have reiterated that the only reason you pay for your subscriptions is for WildEarth. WildEarth represents everything MultiChoice proclaims to champion. We produce local content, we innovate when we tell African stories, while showcasing some of the best locations that our country has to offer. Our stories are created by South Africans, shot, edited, broadcast, produced and directed, not large multinational conglomerates who send crews out to shoot African stories and then sell them back to Africa. As this David versus Goliath tale unfolds, it may be worth reminding MultiChoice of their own David roots, back when they were a fledgling broadcaster aspiring to bring something new and uniquely African to the world. WildEarth's struggle is a mirror held up to MultiChoice, reflecting the image of a lumbering giant who's fallen foul of the times and who may have misplaced its mission in the pursuit of corporate conquests. Purchasing African wildlife content from American media giants in dollars while shunning local production does not represent unwavering commitment to uplifting and showcasing local content, talent and industries, and nor does it highlight your pivotal role in fostering and celebrating local creativity across our platforms, as MultiChoice claims. The WildEarth vs. MultiChoice standoff is not simply a quest for compensation. It is an allegory for the broadcasting industry. It highlights values that have been forgotten in the rush for an expansion and acquisition. It also represents how broadcasters have sought to offload all risks and costs associated with production to the content producers, while they reap the rewards for themselves. WildEarth, with its dedicated army of viewers, variously fans of lions, landscapes, insects, elephants, leopard lineages, and the occasional bewildered wildebeest, stands as a testament to the power of local content and the importance of supporting the Davids of the industry. Will MultiChoice remember its sling, reassess its mission, and embrace WildEarth as the embodiment of its stated goals? Or will WildEarth simply be cast aside as a casualty of another corporate giant too focused on other short-term priorities? As this saga unfolds, one thing is certain. The African wilderness and its broadcasting counterpart is full of surprises, and this underdog's tale is far from over. In the end, this David vs. Goliath story might remind us that sometimes Goliaths need to be nudged to recall their humble beginnings and the missions they set out to accomplish. Perhaps, just maybe, it will teach us all to listen more closely to the whispered stories of the wild and the channels that bring them to our screens. This is a story about the very essence of what it means to have a meaningful mission as a business, and whether you are prepared to align your actions with your words. It comes at a time when our human need for nature connection has never been more eroded or more important. It is about taking a stand for refusing to be bullied, regardless of the odds, for something you believe in and care deeply for. Our decision to stand up for ourselves may kill us, or it may cause someone to realize how big, important, and valuable our movement is to them as a corporate or a brand wanting to be associated with everything good. Ultimately, WildEarth and MultiChoice should be lock and key partners. Our missions are on paper perfectly aligned. Something has been lost on the way, and let's hope we can find it before it's too late. Andre Crawford-Brunt, WildEarth Chairman. I'm going to hand over to Andre now.
James, thank you, and apologies for the gremlins. It seems like global warming has really come to Cape Town there. I think it's 100+ kilometre an hour wind blowing, so if you do lose me, I'm sure you're more than capable to carry on with the show. But I just wanted to echo a huge amount of thanks, I think, for all the support. To say it's been overwhelming, I think, would be the understatement of the year. And I think I've obviously done a large number of media interviews throughout the week. I think one of the biggest compliments I always tell the team is when you either get the journalist or the person prepping the interview says, I'm a huge fan of your channel, and so are my parents, my grandparents, and my kids love WildEarth schools. So I think, certainly you always have a little bit of doubt in the back of your head because you never know exactly how big the army of people are who watch your channel and 183 DSTV, but I think we can unequivocally say that it's a pretty big army of people who are particularly passionate about championing our cause, passionate about South Africa, passionate about wildlife, passionate about conservation and education. And as we've always said, we think we represent everything good. Obviously, a huge thank you, as always, to the viewers, the 3 viewers who started the petition you alluded to, Andrea, Susan, and Peter. 16,000, or just over 16,000 people across 3 different petitions asking MultiChoice to do the right thing have now been signed. And a small fact, but in the UK, if there's a petition which receives more than 10,000 signatures, the government is actually obliged to respond. In this case, there is a response from MultiChoice, which I'll read out in a short while. But there's been over 50,000 social media posts around this. There've been, 25% of those have alluded to people suggesting that they would relook at their MultiChoice subscriptions. And whilst that is a drop in the ocean compared to the global reach or the African reach that MultiChoice has, certainly the combination of removing people's favorite channels and increasing prices is not a recipe for financial success. MultiChoice have issued a statement, and I think it's probably only fair and right that I read it. It goes as follows. In 2020, MultiChoice Group and WildEarth concluded a channel agreement to include WildEarth channel on DSTV services. The agreement was non-exclusive and enabled WildEarth to showcase its channel and programming content on multiple other services such as YouTube, its own website, and other online applications. On Tuesday, 21st of March, WildEarth informed MultiChoice Group of its wish to remove the channel from DSTV services. As a result, the channel will not be available on DSTV services after the 30th of April 2024. MultiChoice Group notes the comments made in the media by WildEarth. It is not our position to respond to all comments or to play this out in the media. MultiChoice Group remains committed to providing its subscribers with a wide variety of entertainment content, including through its extensive investments in local content on the African content, close quotes. I think that last content should be continent. And that was from MultiChoice Group themselves. It was interesting when I was perusing through the latest financial statements, obviously the Outlook piece written by Mr. Patel, who's the chairman, and Mr. Mawela, who's the CEO of MultiChoice Group. It was an interesting paragraph. The group remains committed to bringing customers the best video entertainment, to keep supporting the creative industry in South Africa through the production of great local content, to uplift communities which it serves on an ongoing basis. So I would challenge both Mr. Patel as well as Mr. Mawala to find another channel on DSTV that's as big a pioneer as WildEarth has been, that's made in South Africa by South Africans, and that does as much for education, for conservation and tourism on a global scale to the extent that WildEarth does. As you mentioned, James, I did invite Mr. Patel and Mr. Jury to join the town hall, and I said to them, we can agree the questions in advance. I think it's important for you to give the MultiChoice Group side of the story as to why WildEarth is not worthy of your support, given what the viewers are telling you. The response, which I'll read as written, was, we do not consider it will be helpful or productive from our respective organizations for our respective organizations to engage in what may become a public slanging match. While WildEarth is of course entitled to decide on which platforms it wishes to make its channel available, it is disappointing that WildEarth is seeking to publicly pressurize MultiChoice Group into providing additional commercial support, close quote. I think it's the point additional that was the word that probably irked me the most. The reality is that the P&L really reads WildEarth minus 10 million, MultiChoice Group payment to WildEarth 0. So there's never been any commercial support that MultiChoice has been provided. In fact, MultiChoice Group has been the one collecting the subscription revenues from the many viewers that we know watch our channel or have it on in the background continuously. And obviously, look, simple lesson in business: if you continue to offer your product away for free, there comes a point where that business becomes unsustainable. I know for a fact that Mr. Jury and Mr. Patel are both avid safari lovers. They frequently, both very passionate South Africans, spend a lot of time in the bush. And I know, from my own experiences, Mr. Jury always has the channel on 24/7 when he's in the office. So something is broken down here between MultiChoice Group and, ultimately the management. The ones who are paid the big bucks are the ones who are responsible for explaining, certainly to their viewers, what the reason is and how a 55 billion rand company could lose a small minnow from WildEarth, given the extent to which, there is a huge amount of public support for us. I think personally that's a costly error on their part. A viewer wrote in and reminded me a little of a story that I thought was particularly apt, about a corporate underestimating the impact of what was at the time a pretty perceived to be a pretty small group of customers. And it was a story of Nestle back in, I think, the early kind of 2010-11 period. And Nestle was effectively sourcing palm oil for a lot of its products from the forests in Malaysia and Indonesia, and a small group of consumers became particularly concerned that these practices were endangering wildlife habitats, particularly the orangutan, and they adopted at the time what appeared to be a pretty multifaceted approach. This small group, they produced and most of us I think will remember, they produced a viral video of a Kit Kat commercial of a person unknowingly biting an orangutan finger. They kind of launched social media campaigns encouraging people to confront Nestle on their social media, Facebook, and their reports, and they produced numerous reports and documentation exposing the inconsistencies between often what big corporates say and what they actually do. And the underlying impact was huge reputational damage, both financial and otherwise. It was a consumer boycott at the time of a lot of Nestle products. Ultimately, the story had a pretty happy ending because there was policy change, and Nestle actually formed a partnership in the form of financial support for something called the Forest Trust. Now, no one's suggesting that MultiChoice are doing anything along the lines of Nestle. There's no orangutans involved in this exercise, but I think that the story underscores the importance of corporate responsibility in the age of digital activism and highlights the risk companies face if they ignore or underestimate either ethical, environmental, or social issues which are raised by their customers. The 30th of April is still 23 days away. Our hope is that at some stage, MultiChoice Group are going to engage with us. We ultimately believe that we're much stronger together with MultiChoice and potentially soon to be Canal Plus, pioneering and building a global live or virtual wildlife channel, taking African stories to the world. And, as I say, hopefully that'll be with, not without MultiChoice Groups. I think we've probably covered that in depth, James. I think on a positive note, obviously, away from the support we've received from both viewers, we received 1,500 letters in addition to all the signatures, and we've had numerous approaches from corporates. I'd like to thank those corporates, and we've obviously, in plugging the obvious gap that we have in our company, we've been looking very hard for a corporate sponsor or partner to come on board with us. I think we've shown we've got a large, very valuable LSM audience, people who like to travel, they're global, and they're extremely loyal and passionate. But I'd like to thank some of the sponsors that, old and new, Domo, Fed Air, Jim Green, Olive Creations, Pro It Up, Rugged Wear, Shikwari, Toyota, Feltskun, a new partner, Willerton. And I think I'd just like to kind of do a small push if there are any corporates or C-suite executives watching who think they may be interested in helping, getting together with us. What we champion, we think is everything good about our country. Please reach out to partnerships@wildearth.tv. I'll pause there for a second, James.
Yeah, I think that's the way to do it. Get hold of us in partnerships@wildearth.tv. And I mean, for those of you in South Africa especially, there are probably three basic ways around this. There's a sort of sponsorship deal, there's a CSI deal, and there's I can never remember the next acronym. It's ESD. I think. That's right, ESD. And we're looking to try and structure something along those lines. We do have a non-profit entity that's set up, certainly in the process of being finalized with the Constitution. So there are ways that we can hopefully leverage that for conservation and education good. So there are lots of ways to do it. That's partnerships@wildearth.tv. And we're now going to cue a little clip around what we're hoping to aim for with our generic, or not with our generic, with our corporate sponsors.
WildEarth is a force for good in a troubled world. We're a passionate group of South Africans on a mission to connect people with nature at a time when we have never been more disconnected from the wild that is an ancient part of each and every one of us.
Only meters away from me, folks.
We've created a community of global nature lovers, and we mean so much to so many.
Couldn't script it. Wildlife theatre indeed.
You see it all in the show. The cycle of life, everybody.
Oh my goodness, everybody, you can't possibly script something like this. This is a live safari.
Tell the Steenbok to avoid him as well, because he looks hungry.
Who are you going after? What have you found? It's a young topi, she's got it!
We promote conservation, we educate, we encourage a global audience to come and experience South Africa's astonishing natural heritage.
Why don't you eat it? I think he's eaten so much nyala over the... This is a cat that likes to hoist his kills.
The average female lioness weighs 130 kilograms, walking right past our car here.
WildEarth needs corporate partners who believe in our mission of connecting humanity with nature. We need partners who love South Africa and making a difference. Together, we have a phenomenal opportunity to promote conservation and our beloved country's astonishing natural heritage.
So if you'd like to get hold of us, partnerships@wildearth.tv. If you happen to be in charge of a vast CSI budget, do let us know. We're going to take some questions and comments, and some of them are interesting, some of them are quite tricky. I'm going to hand those tricky ones to Andre. There are a lot of you who are asking about YouTube memberships. I'm going to address those questions and how that relates to your being explorers a little bit later, just to say that it doesn't affect your being explorers. So please don't worry about that. Right, so a couple of questions here. They're all about YouTube and explorers. Hang on. Steve, Andre, James, can you clarify exactly the implications of losing the multi-choice contract to WildEarth in financial terms, please? Andre, would you like to have a stab at that?
Yeah, I think, look, being on the platform and the ease of use for our viewers is our major concern. Multi-choice and our channel, which we've been on for 3 years, is just really easy for viewers to access. Everyone knows where to find it. So I'm more concerned about our audience particularly, and I'm technologically challenged myself, so I say this with all kind of due respect. So some of the elderly members, will battle if we're now asking them to talk to connected TVs or YouTube and membership. So that's the thing that I'm most concerned about, is that something that's a staple that people rely on, is going to be taken away from them. In terms of absolute numbers, look, it's hard to quantify. Being on the premier pay TV channel, it's obviously helpful with corporate sponsors. The LSM is high, the reach is high. MultiChoice is an amazing company, and we've only always wanted to stay and build our reach and get paid fairly for our product. And obviously the goal remains that we think we can build something that achieves the objectives of both the shareholders and management of MultiChoice Group, as well as the needs of our business. And at the minute, the downside for us is zero, because we get paid zero. And as I've said a few times, if you never stand up for yourself, no one else is going to do it. So hard to quantify at the moment. My personal view is it would be a lose-lose for both MultiChoice Group as well as WildEarth. So there would have been a failure at multiple levels if we're unable to get to some type of agreement that works for everyone, because ultimately the viewers are who we should both be trying to appease here.
BAH or BA, evening, James. Who gets the revenue from advertising on the DSTV channel? Andre, do you want to take that, or do you want me to have a go?
Yeah, we do, and our fill rate on our advertising is low double digits. Partly this is something I've spoken up before, but advertising in the prehistoric way it's done in South Africa is measured on something called TAMS, which, as opposed to the digital world that we operate in, there's a very small subset of homes which are meant to represent the demographic of the country, where these boxes exist that, if someone turns on a box, that will represent X, thousands of viewers. And the shortcomings of that, I was actually on a call the other day with the TAMS people. They don't pick up gated communities. They won't pick us up in certain workplaces. They strip out certain amounts of data. You're challenged by load shedding. So the answer is we keep it. That's the deal. That was the deal with MultiChoice. MultiChoice Media Sales didn't want to take the advertising from our channel. We've worked really hard in the last 6 to 9 months, and MultiChoice, and particularly Mark Jury, has been hugely helpful in getting us onto the other levels, because historically we were only on the premium channel, so we had a limited subsector of the overall reach. So in the last 6 months that's been expanded to include more packages, and we've really just started to get traction with that market. That said, we do our own surveys internally, and we understand our viewers probably much better than the people making content decisions at MultiChoice, because we do surveys around their viewing time, their habits, where we rank in terms of favorite channels. It's from a local content perspective, a wildlife perspective, and we get to see on all the digital channels what the viewing time is. And in the TikTok world that we operate, our viewing times are extremely long. A big percentage of our viewers watch for more than 20 hours a week, and we think that's a valuable asset.
I think the other important thing to say there is that, for those of you who don't understand, and I didn't until very recently understand how these companies or linear TV channels calculate how who's watching. It's a really archaic system, and the big thing about being on a digital platform like YouTube or our app or on something like Roku in the US is that we know exactly who's watching. We know exactly how many people are watching. It's not a case of extrapolating and creating this sort of statistical wizardry that really nobody can seriously justify, especially with the numbers that we're looking at. So I think it's important to understand that yes, we have got some advertising revenue from them, but it's based on data that really doesn't exist. So that's quite important. A question.
And the other point, just to add, James, I did just interject. Apologies. It's one of the reasons legacy media companies are under so much pressure, because big tech are at such a big advantage because they know so much about you. You can imagine extrapolating or guessing. Every time a corporate spends $1 advertising on TV, they have no idea what the ROI on that is. And, big tech has such a monopoly over understanding who their viewers are, what you like, the conversations you have, what you're interested in, where your search are, where you actually are, that, this is one of the economics. Technology lowers the price at which you sell your goods. And, it's one of the reasons these legacy media companies are having so much trouble at the minute, and why consolidation is inevitable, and hence, the move by Canal Plus to try and consolidate with MultiChoice Group.
Sandy Franklin, does it have to be an African company that sponsors us? No, it absolutely doesn't have to be an African company that sponsors us. We have a British entity and we have a South African entity, but it doesn't even need to be British or South African, Andre.
Yeah, we've got a global audience. Our audience are nature lovers, people who love to travel. This is the language of nature is universal. It appeals to everyone, and it's educational, it's family friendly, it's non-political. Frankly, we need more of this, not less. And why we've been fighting so hard to keep our channel on 183, just with economics that can kind of work for us, because we know people need more of this content in the world that we're existing. We're tired of the wars, we're tired of the relentless corruption, politicians, in politics, and people actually need this from a mental health perspective, need this escape. And there've got to be corporates out there that find that valuable, and everything that we appeal to is a force for good, we believe.
Nice one from Jane here, who says she'll happily stop her MultiChoice subscription, but when are you going to have the app available on Samsung TV? It is frustrating not being able to access the channel through the app on your smart TV. Jane, I'm afraid my 1 megabyte brain won't be able to answer that question. I know that we are trying to get the app on Samsung TV, and we'll keep you posted about that. Jenny D, please share the promotional video you have just shown in the town hall. Would like to use it to open some discussions with corporates to get WildEarth on their CSI budget. That's a really good one, Jenny. I think probably for us to give you the video at the best resolution we can, would you mind sending us an email to partnerships@wildearth.tv, and we can then share with you a Vimeo link, and I suppose, in fact, we could probably tweet the Vimeo link as soon as it's up. But send us an email and we'll definitely do that. And then we'll also tweet the Vimeo link, which will give you a nice high quality version of that promo. If we just share it on social media, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you to get a decent quality promo. Thank you, Jenny, for that. Send us an email, or we'll tweet the link to the Vimeo as soon as it's up. Right, quickly on Samsung. Here, Samsung decides which countries to make WildEarth available in, and haven't done so in South Africa so far. That's why you can't get it. So thank you for all those questions. Okay, I think we should probably move on now to the next section. I will address YouTube and memberships and explorers once we've moved on to this next little section. We've got a few questions about our non-live days. We've had a really nice comment from somebody who has given us some comment about some of our non-live clips needing a bit more context. Great feedback. This is a work in progress, and thank you for that, and we'll keep working on these things. But basically on Monday and Tuesday this last week, and it'll happen again tomorrow and on Tuesday, Cedric and Steve last week, it'll be me and Steve this week, went out shooting stuff, and we got a lot of great story. And I think the nicest part of it was probably something that Cedric managed to achieve. He did like a virtual safari when he went out to look for the lions, luckily found the lions in the end, and managed to continue the story of the week that had been told before. And that's ideally what we want to try and do. This thing is absolutely a work in progress. And the idea is, for our non-live days, we want to film things that will continue the narrative of our characters. So if we see Tlalamba the leopardess, or if we see the male lions like Cedric did the other day, we will continue their narrative. And that will then allow us to put that footage into the archive, and we can continue to tell that story whenever we want to tell that story. And that's quite important. The other thing is to introduce newer viewers to some of our characters. So we'll have background to Kalamba the leopard, because a newer viewer won't know who she is or where she's come from. And rather than having me or Cedric or Steve bang on about who she is and when she was born and when we first saw her, which we've all done 100 times, it'll be much easier to play and much more attractive to actually play a clip of her being born and playing with her mother Thandi, and we learn all about that while we're looking for her. So it's to add context to the narrative. It really isn't to put into these shows non-live content that doesn't contribute to the narrative. So it was interesting reading a lot of the comments over the last 2 weeks about how not seeing something for lengthy periods is just part of the safari. And I hear you. I hear those of you who say that. But a lot of other viewers have got hold of us and said, you know, there are times when it's a bit boring because, you know, it would be nice to see some stuff. And so there's a balance to be had. We don't want action from the time the safari starts to the time it ends. We want ebb and flow, but we want to enrich the experience by adding this non-live stuff that really is quite meaningful to people who aren't watching all the time, or who can't afford to watch a 3-hour safari. So that's the objective. The objective is going to change. It's going to evolve. It's going to evolve with your feedback. How we do these things is going to evolve with your feedback. And it's a work in progress. So I ask that you be patient with it and help us through it like you have been doing. We're very grateful for the feedback that we're getting. So thank you very much for that. I think that covers all of that. And so without further ado, I think what we'll have is the virtual safari clip that Cedric managed to shoot over the course of Monday last week.
Right, everybody, yes, this is exactly where we had those male lions crossing in from Djuma this morning, or in from Torchwood into Djuma. And yeah, here's one of the tracks of the male. So you can see pretty much this one here is the back paw. Not as big as the front paw. This is the back paw with the 4 pugs, 4 toes. And then the front one is, yeah, much larger compared to the back one. But unfortunately, when they walk, the back one always pretty much goes a little bit on top of the front one. And they moved here, but very fresh, very, very fresh. Here's another one here. And I'm gonna try and follow up on these tracks and see how far they go up on top of all the vehicle tracks from this morning. So they must have run in here and they must have come out here again. All right, I'm gonna be on these tracks. Alright, as you can see, everybody, we have found one male lion just south of Baobab Dam on a sandy patch. And after all that commotion from last night, all the male lions roaring around here on Djuma, at least we found one male so far. And it looks like one of the Black Dam males, so one of the dominant males that pretty much roams this area. I don't see his brother, so he has been singled out here for some reason. Not good, especially with a coalition. You want to stick together, very important. If you start splitting up from one another and you've got other coalitions coming in the area, you know, you want to be together, because as soon as you apart from one another, then you are quite vulnerable to the other males. So let's hope that his brother's fine. Let's hope that there's no other conflict that they had with the Kambula males, because the Kambula males did come north. So that is where the spanner has been thrown into the works. It's 4 male lions, the Kambula boys. We just found these 2 big male lions that chased off the Black Dam males this morning from Torchwood into Djuma. And this is one of them. The other one is just behind you. Very big males. And they, this morning, chased the 2 Black Dam males, dominant males, yeah, out from Torchwood into Djuma, and now just quickly tracked down these boys, these 2 males. And I'm not too sure who they are. They say maybe they're the Matli males. It's one older one and the other one is a very dark mane. Not too relaxed with us, as you can see. But there he goes. All right, fantastic. Yes!
So that's the first idea of what a virtual safari is going to look like, and that's the first try. Obviously, there are things to be refined, but you can see it's very much, it's not a documentary, it's a kind of as live, it's narrated as it would be, but without the long driving segments in between. Okay, so that's what's going on with the non-live stuff. Having thought that we were going to run out of time, we weren't going to be able to fill this hour, I'm now starting to see that we may run out of time. So I'm going to go straight on to the YouTube offering. Right, we are opening up YouTube memberships, and YouTube memberships is a paid membership system that you can go to on YouTube, and we're offering two tiers at the moment, and you can find out about the tiers on YouTube. If you go there, you'll have a look, and the main thing there is that you'll get a totally ad-free stream on YouTube. You'll get early access to travel benefits, possibly. No, not possibly. You will definitely get early access to travel benefits. You'll get question priority, badges, emojis, private safaris. And if you just go along to YouTube, you can check out which of the two tiers, both tiers. The most important thing to say is that on both tiers, you will get an ad-free version of the channel. So that's really important. And then you get various other benefits depending on which tier you choose. Lots of you worried about how this affects your Explorer membership. It doesn't affect your Explorer membership at all. It doesn't affect the app at all. So we will maintain the app. We will maintain the Explorer program. It doesn't change the benefits that you get as Explorers. You will still, as Explorers, get early access to various travel things as you have done before. Nothing is going to change around the benefits that you have enjoyed as Explorers there. This is another way of doing it. Some people find YouTube a much easier user experience, and it's very much an Explorer program, but on a different platform. That's basically what we're offering on YouTube. YouTube offers a different viewer experience from our app, and so that's what we're offering. And again, we'll take feedback over the next couple of weeks. We'll modify things as we need to going along, but we feel that this is a really strong offering, and it's a really nice way for if we do come off DSTV, for example, we're going to help you to migrate onto this platform. YouTube is on all smart TVs around the world, and if you're in South Africa and you are perhaps a little technologically challenged, like many of us are as we get a little older, well, we're going to help you through it. Using YouTube on your smart TV is extremely easy, and we'll help you through it. We'll make some instructional videos, and if you want to join us on the ad-free YouTube channel, it'll be great to have you there. So go along to YouTube. You can go to our channel, and there you will see the options for the memberships, and you can have a look there. There is a note to be made around our troubles with iOS. Okay, that's the Apple operating software on mobile. So I'll tell you about that. I'm just getting a message here from our social media manager who says, please say join the channel. Yeah, so you need to click join. You need to click on join if you want to join the membership program, and there you'll get all of the information. If you are going to try and do this from your telephone, from your iOS device, from an Apple device, you're going to need you actually can't do it right now. You're going to have to do it from your PC first, and then you'll be a member when you join in under your profile on your iPhone. The join button doesn't seem to exist on iOS, and that's a problem probably between Google and Apple, who have a much greater war than WildEarth and MultiChoice had. I think probably being waged for millions of dollars. Go, Andre, I can see you desperate to talk there.
Thanks, James. I was just going to make the point. It's interesting when you look at, so the economics are YouTube keeps 30%. So on for example, a $10 subscription, they will keep $3. So we'll keep $7. And I think we've, as many of you will know, over the last 2 years, we've trial and error with respect to trying to build our own app, maintain it. The reality is that you cannot compete against the thousands of developers that YouTube have, the sophistication around chat, the new developments. So whilst we're paying them a decent percentage of the revenue, obviously they don't have any of our costs. Our hope and aim is that many of you will sign up. By signing up, you're going to be supporting us. We need to move away, as James said at the outset, from the begging bowl. This is the last time I told him, certainly you're going to see me on screen with the begging bowl, because I kind of, it's not sustainable. So we really need to grow our membership. There are 2 billion viewers on YouTube. We think there's a big audience to be built. We appreciate there are some people who, will find the price high, and obviously they can continue to watch with ads. But our hope is that you really will be supporting us by signing up for a membership, and we've got 2 tiers there. I won't go into all the details. I think you can go and see them. But there's a bit of trial and error here. We've got a $10, I think, and a $50 option. With, as James said, different perks. That's a per month figure, and again, we will keep 70% of that. We won't have any of the streaming costs, the development costs. It'll be easy, and we will benefit as YouTube continues to evolve. And we think, there's north of 100 million different channels on YouTube, and as televisions evolve and more people get connected TVs, this is going to make the viewing experience that much more easy. So, please support us there if you can.
Yeah, and I think lots of questions coming through about this stuff, and give it a go, see what you think. Like Andre says, there are thousands of amazingly genius technological people all over the world working for YouTube. We've got one genius Russian working for us, and I mean, he's cleverer than most of the people in Silicon Valley, but he's on his own. And so, it is just it's simply a user experience thing, and we'll see how it goes. But your Explorer situation is not going to change at all. Okay, sorry, another note I'm getting these things through from various members of the WildEarth crew. Kyle just saying there that it's only the older iPhones. On his iPhone X, it works fine. So it's only if you rather like our CFO, Graham, and operating on a phone that was probably last used by Noah on his Ark that you're going to have trouble. Okay, a couple more questions. Sorry about the non-live days. Are we bringing these back? No, we're not bringing these back yet. We are going to continue on this model for the foreseeable future, and that's the way that is. And then a few of you asking, well, couldn't the Explorers or the high-level Explorers be on live drives on Mondays and Tuesdays? The point about not being live on Mondays and Tuesdays is that we are able to deploy resources to other places. So we can go and shoot non-live stuff, and we can go, and we don't have to have a director, we don't have to have a tech team in Johannesburg working on the live drives. And so it's not a question of us just flicking a switch. It's a question of deploying people in a totally different way. So Kimberly Lopez, I'm afraid that's why we can't do that. Okay, thank you, Jackie Darling, for just donating another further $100. Thank you very much to all of you. James Richard, are there any plans for WildEarth to leave platforms like Xumo here I think it's Xumo, Xumo, I don't know how you say that, here in the States? You watch on YouTube, but just curious. No, not at the moment. At the moment, we don't have any plans of that. We're looking at all of our platforms, and I think basically the platforms that don't pay, and I don't mean physically, the platforms that cost us to be on, we're going to have a serious look at. Laura Moore, is there a way for all of us to let these potential sponsors know how valuable WildEarth production is to many for so many years? A site to sign or support? I think the petition's done that, Laura Moore. I'm not sure how else you could do that other than to carry on with watching and posting on social media and being part of our social media club, if you like, or our social media audience, which is a powerful number, and that's where our power and our reach is. And so please continue to be part of that, and that will be very powerful when we go looking for corporate sponsors. So thank you very much for those questions. Teresa Berry, will you have to have a YouTube membership to see Wild Earth? No, this is a good question. So we will continue to broadcast on YouTube in exactly the same way that we do. So if you can't afford a membership and you want to watch on YouTube, you can carry on watching on YouTube. That's no problem. It won't be ad-free, and you won't get the other benefits. But our free offering on YouTube will remain. So you don't have to have a membership in order to watch the live safaris. You will get served advertising, but you don't have to watch them without, you don't have to pay to watch Wild Earth on YouTube. That's a good question. I wasn't clear enough about that. Thanks, Teresa Berry.
But we want, I mean, just to add to that, James, we need and want as many people to pay as possible. Otherwise we're just going to continue going around in circles, and any business needs to be able to stand on its own 2 feet. So we need as many paying subscribers, people who value what we do, people who enjoy what we do, people who want to continue to see us do what we do. We need to sign up a decent number to be able to cover our costs and to reinvest in the right amount of technology that we need. And a combination of that with the right partnerships, sponsorships, we think will create an experience and get us to a really good place. So if you are able to, the request is make the monthly contribution. That's going to make a big difference to us, and we need that. Thank you.
And it certainly is nothing like as expensive as your DSTV subscription. Okay, we're going to move into a slightly more exciting part of the show. We've only got 9 minutes left, so I'm going to make it very fast. We're going to do the draw for the naming of the Toyotas. I have got a hat full of names here. Didn't drop that one on the floor, don't worry. And I'm quickly going to draw 2 names out here. And I'm not going to give you the names. I'm just going to give you the initials because, well, you might not want to know. You might not want to be known. So JS, you will be contacted. JS, you are going to name one of the Toyotas. Please make it good, not Toyota McToyota face or anything like that. Let's call it something good, please. And then ML, you are going to have the chance as well. So if your initials are JS or ML and you donated $25 or more, you two are going to name our 2 Toyotas. Thank you very much for that. And I look forward to seeing what the names are. I also take no responsibility for the abuse that you will receive on social media when you give names to the cars that other people don't agree with.
Good luck.
I'm glad, good luck with that, and I'm glad it's not going to be me. And then the special trip to come and spend 5 days with the Wild Earth crew. This one is going to somebody with the initials AL. AL. And you will be contacted shortly. For the rest of you who donated your $25 or your $100, we are so extremely grateful. Thank you very, very much to all of you. So AL, you're coming to see us. JS and ML, you're going to name the vehicles. And like I say, good luck to you with that. You will be immortalized on the cruises, and you might want to change where you live. Not really. It won't be that bad. And then the final thing I want to say is that just before we go, we're going to play a YouTube promo clip. In fact, let's play that now, and then I'll say my final thing.
This morning we did have some lions. Cedric's probably going to follow that one.
Right, so we will make some instructional videos for you and help you out with that if you want to join, and please do. Right, now, 2 more things. I'm getting messages thrown at me and we've only got 6 minutes to go. The first one is, this one comes from the Wild Earth travel desk, and that is that between the 16th and 21st of November, we're going to have a Wild Earth Grand Tour. Details will follow. I'm just telling you that that's going to happen, and there will be early access for explorers for anybody who wants to come on the Wild Earth Grand Tour. It will be limited to 8 people, and details will follow on the website, and we'll launch a whole marketing campaign around it in the next 2 weeks or so. So that's the one thing that I needed to say. I think it's extremely exciting. We're going to have all sorts of interesting things. There'll be lots of Wild Earth personalities involved, and we'll tell stories, we'll see animals, we'll sing around a fire, we'll go and hopefully do some conservation experiences, maybe even a rhino darting and dehorning. I think it'll be an absolutely marvelous time to come. So watch out our website, and we'll let you know when bookings are open and that sort of thing. And then, for those of you who do want to be corporate partners and are wondering where they can get the video, apparently people are already sending through emails around this. We will put it up on our website, but we will put it up on Vimeo, and we will share the link. And in fact, we'll share the link on our website. Kyle, if you are still online, maybe you can quickly tell me how we're going to do that most effectively. But we will share a high-quality link that you can then share on. And that'll be on our website, and we'll find a way to get that to you. So thank you.
And James, if people can just email partnerships@wildearth.tv, I think just to reiterate that, just shoot us through an email. We'll get everything across to you, anyone who's interested.
Partnerships@wildearth.tv. Thank you very much for that. And with that, I think that we can probably take a couple more questions before the end. Judy H. has made a nice comment about the you're always considered, Judy H. You made a nice comment about the non-live segments being a work in progress. You said you'd like to see the elimination of the music and a more natural speaking voice for the narration. Fair enough. This kind of feedback is what we need, and we're going to take it, and not all of it will be implemented, but we are very grateful for the feedback and the time and consideration you all give to us. And that you care so much to tell us. Rachel D, I'm assuming, or Rack D, you'd love to create and share a family pride clan tree so you can see who's related to whom. It's been one of my goals for the last 18 months, but things have just kind of got on top of us. It is a work in progress, and we will sort that out for you eventually, something that is easily accessible and usable on the website. Are we going to go back to Twitch? No, I don't think we're going to go back to Twitch. It seems to be much more a gamer's thing than for something like this. We did try it on Twitch and didn't work particularly well for us. Has MultiChoice offered to help source another channel? No, MultiChoice hasn't offered to help source another channel. I'm not sure what you mean, Leopard 7, but no, they haven't done that. Streamlining the non-live content. Yes, we will be. Thank you. We'll do best to add a bit more context, dates, and that sort of stuff. That's good feedback. Thank you for that. And this is wonderful feedback here from GC. Wild Earth is the reason I've visited South Africa twice in the past 18 months, and I'm planning to retire there. Now, I mean, that's why we do what we do. You've come to South Africa to visit, and you're now coming to live here. And the reason you visited South Africa twice in the past 18 months is because of Wild Earth. GC, I don't think you're the only one. And it's just really heartwarming to hear that sort of feedback. It really is. That means a massive amount to us. So thank you very much for that, GC. And with that, would anybody in the Wild Earth crew like to bomb me with another WhatsApp? Or are we good to go? I think we're good to go. All right, we've got 2 minutes left, so I'm just going to stare fairly blankly at you for the next 2 minutes. I'm going to thank you again for the unbelievable support we've had. It really is, and we're not going to do it again. It's very difficult to do, and you have supported us. You have not told us that we're being unreasonable. One or two have, but the vast majority of you have just been unbelievable with your outpouring of support and kindness, and we're very, very, very grateful to all of you. So thank you, and please do join us on Wednesday for the next live safari, but you'll get a good repeat tomorrow. And please join the YouTube channel if you can. Join, you just go to our channel on YouTube and click join. All right, and I think we're probably Okay, and I'm going to leave you with Gerrit Burger, our head camera operator's name for one of the Toyotas. He would like one of you to name it Tom Cruiser. Tom Cruiser. Thank you, Gerrit, for that. I think that's a really good way for us to end. Tom Cruiser. So JS or ML, you can call it Tom Cruiser. That would be wonderful. Okay, everybody, thank you very much, and good night to you.
Thanks, James.